Sorry.
छोटी बच्ची हो क्या?
You've definitely seen this ad. But who's behind it? In just a span of 3 years, Talented has become the go-to agency behind some of the most talked about ads in the Indian digital landscape. We're talking to PG Aditiya, who's one of the founders of Talented. He's been in the agency business for more than a decade. He understands what it takes to build an agency for the modern era. Talented has worked with some of the biggest Indian brands, and they do it with an 80-member team. Agencies are tough to manage when they scale, but here's how you can do it successfully either way. So, PG, quickly tell me, how big is Talented?
Staff?
The kind of campaigns you've done, the kind of people the number of people you employ directly or indirectly,
Okay.
and I know revenue if you like to disclose it.
Staff is usually how agencies have looked at growth per se. It shouldn't be that simplistic. I'm sure we'll talk about that part later on as well. But if we were to look at staff size, I think we're about 75-80 people, dude. Around 75-80 people
Full-time?
in Talented. Yes, full-time. I think a bunch of external stakeholders who we work with who come in at writing, designing, animation, sometimes strategy, bunch of different capacities. Then of course the external partners like production houses, etc. All of that. So I think, closer to a 3-digit number in that sense. Yeah.
And some of the brands that you work with?
So I think our first and brand that's like very close to our heart is Britannia. I think we've been working with Britannia for the longest. I mean, since our inception. They are almost as old as Talented as a client for us. I think quite recently, I mean, late last year, we ended up working. We ended up winning the pitch for Hindu, and again, a supremely important brand in this country. We're glad to be able to contribute in their journey overall. Apart from that, Flipkart, Swiggy, Urban Company. I think we managed a wonderful project with RCB very recently, which came out.
Current IPL?
Yes, it was around the IPL. It doesn't have anything to do with cricket.
Okay.
That came out about a month ago. So very eclectic mix of clients so far. I'm liking the versatility that we've been able to display with the kind of clients who've been able to, kind of brands who've been able to see value in us. So yeah, it's been an upward graph so far.
So PG, in at least the creative circle, in the marketing circle, you rose to fame a little before Talented. That happened at Dentsu Web Chutney.
Yeah.
So you grew up to the ranks of chief creative officer there. You were part of the leadership, and you guys were winning awards back to back. And for a lot of brands, Dentsu Web Chutney was the agency brand to go to for anything creative. What made you, and you were there for quite a while, you built a name for yourself, you sort of became synonymous with the brand. What made you leave Chutney, as you guys call it, Dentsu Web Chutney, to start Talented?
It's going to be a long-winded answer. You tell me when I should tell you.
No, go for it.
So you're right. I spent about 10 years in Web Chutney. I think there was about 4 years pre-acquisition where they were just Web Chutney, and then they became Dentsu, and there was like 5-6 years with that version of the brand as well. Yeah, close to a decade. Gautam, who's my co-founder, pretty much spent a little more than a decade, in fact, around 11 years, right? And I think a bunch of us were, and we're kind of like exceptions to our generation, so to speak. This is not a fancy thing to do, to spend your entire 20s in one organization is pretty, it's almost like until you know absolutely sure that is in your context the right thing to do. It's the wisdom of crowds would tell you otherwise. The wisdom of crowds would tell you, hey, listen, like whatever, like you will, you got to watch out for yourself, and the only way to do that is to keep jumping jobs every 1 or 2 years, right? And I think that and especially in a field like advertising, the effects of that are very clearly seen. It's a larger work truth, but it manifests more painfully in advertising, so to speak, right? So I think we had to ask ourselves, like, if do we see ourselves in a way being able to systemically solve for this problem? Because we did feel like the talent exists. We did believe that a bunch of us who had been working together for about 5 to 6 years at that point, we knew there was one dream team here, right? So how do we incentivize each other uh, uh, to give the idea of that dream team a real shot? And that would be impossible if the same financial structure as was present in the network at that point in time, which is not unique to them. That's the same financial structure that probably exists across very large advertising networks, so to speak. So the idea that got us excited about Talented, and this was Gautam's, was that we will make it employee owned, which is not news to anyone in tech, but in the advertising world, it's quite rare. And through that, we were able to kind of actually paint a picture of a long-term vision, backing it up by saying there is going to be financial incentive for us to kind of reach there. And that part of the argument had been missing from entrepreneurs in advertising thus far. When any advertising entrepreneur is going out there and trying to build her team and trying to start up, etc., she's not been able to also say, hey, listen, this is what I have in mind, let's do it, the work will be great. But then the money aspect of it is not part of that initial elevator pitch to join a shop in advertising. It's always mostly about passion and brands and the fact that we were able to make money, the part of the passionate elevator pitch that is needed to join an agency without corrupting the pitch itself is what I think gave us an employee value proposition that was, I'd like to think, superior to most agencies that were starting up at this point in time, or most agencies that have started up stuff.
So, I mean, it's a very noteworthy thing to say there that, hey, we need to keep the talent density high, because at the end of the day, as a services company or as an agency, that's our product.
Sure.
We're a talent pool.
Yeah.
We do great work, and great work is directly proportional to the number of great people we have, or the great hands that get to do the great work. How many you run Talented for about 3.5 years? Web Chutney for about 10 years.
I didn't run Web Chutney.
No, I mean, you've been in agency for 13 years or more than 13 years?
Something like that. I'm sorry?
13 years or more than 13 years?
In the agency business, you're saying?
Yeah.
Dude, so, I mean, sorry, I'll give you, tell me is that the question?
How long have you been in the agency business?
Oh yeah,
for?
dude, since I was like 17.
How old are you now?
34.
Okay, cool. So you've been in the agency business for 17 years, right? Tell me and agency is a very unique sweet spot wherein every content creator, every marketer, everybody who does video, graphic design, whatever, these guys aim to freelance, and freelance is sort of stopgap to starting their own agencies. But most agencies don't grow beyond a point, either in terms of the clients that they get or in terms of the work that they're able to produce. What are some, and you guys have been, right now I can say that in the last 3.5 years, you've been able to put together a brilliant agency. What are some of the truths that you've learned about agency business that differentiate a top 10% agency versus an average run-of-the-mill agency?
Okay.
You're talk to me like a founder. Business we're talking.
I think because it is very easy to start, you are bound to have more people who don't get it right.
Okay, because entry barrier is low.
Entry barrier.
Anybody and everyone.
Yes, you have more people who speak broken English because you have more people who speak English.
Right.
Right. So I don't think I'm not too bothered by how many people fail. Right. That's just the nature of how easy it is to start. The same reason why 98% of the films that are made are shit. because it's quite easy to make a film now, in some way. But if you notice the number of wonderful Carnatic compositions, right, you'll find very few of them, because not like millions of them are being made in one way. So part of this has to do with scale as well. But I think the ones who make it in some way, they don't see themselves as they see themselves as agency brands, and not agencies particularly, right? So
like we have a bar to maintain.
With regards to the work, yes, but
and commitment to our clients.
Commitment towards clients, how you want to present yourself to the outside world, so to speak, to identify what is on sale and what is not on sale within your own shop. A good parallel for the agency business a lot of times is the restaurant business.
Okay.
In a way, it is you will find a dosa for 20 rupees, you'll find a dosa for 20,000 rupees also in this country. It's very, very possible, right, to get that same item at different whatever. Similarly, you can hire an agency at a 50,000 rupee retainer, or at something which is like whatever of that. So the idea is to first internalize that this is a huge industry where if you can make money by fitting in, you can make money by standing out, you can make money by doing the same thing, you can make money by not doing that. And therefore because it is an inexact science, a lot of it comes down to taste and some sort of a personal taste in what you want to build. It is very possible right now for Talented to have been built in a few other ways and probably make almost the same amount of money, maybe. This is how we want to do it, right? So if you ask a restaurateur, beyond the point she or he won't have logic to why it is certain items on the menu. That's what they want to do. And so a large part of entrepreneurship and advertising needs to come from a place of personal taste, which starts with, what do I think a good ad is? And it starts from a very basic level of, what do I think a fantastic ad is, right? Not what solutions for clients are, not what consumer preferences, all of that. So, and if you have a good vocabulary or a defendable vocabulary, right, about what you think good work is, you can start an agency and probably make it to the top 10%. The people who I see, who I meet, who know that they are not in the top 10%, find this to be the hardest part to build, because because it becomes about them. It becomes about the people that they are, and it is a bit of a personal judgment of, okay, what is my taste creatively? What do I think is good? And I don't think most founders, in especially those who run the business, they don't have a sharp, exciting, inspiring idea of what a good ad or good creativity is. They're unable to talk about it beyond a 2-mark answer or a 5-mark answer. If it had been Gautam sitting here instead of me, if it had been my co-founder here, he would be able to give you a very rich vocabulary about what he thinks creativity is, which you don't find from most suits in advertising. So in a way, if and it's the same thing for, let's say, people who run a film studio, right? One of the people who run Warner Brothers have a very clear idea of what their version of good really is. That's the hardest part. That's the one that you can't get help for. And that's the only part that's really on you. The rest of it, I think you can grok your way out of it a little bit, especially because it's an easy industry to get into. This part is fully on each person.
The entire thing about taste is, I think the Google search trend on the word taste has really gone up in the last 1 year. And I first heard it from this dude called Chamat, or however you pronounce it, the social capital guy, ex-Facebook. He's like, AI can do everything except have taste. Can you define taste for me? Try to give it a definition. Because when you were throwing examples, at some place you use taste for the specific recipe your restaurant has. In another place, you would like taste for a stance that you project in your work, just like an artist. Jackson Pollock has a certain kind of style to his paintings are abstract. Somebody else's are different. What exactly is taste, and is it transferable? Is it learnable, or no? You're born with it.
I think a good way to ask is, what are your media habits outside advertising?
What kind of content you consume?
Yeah, generally,
Okay.
right. And what kind of stuff do you read? Okay. And I think a lot of that pretty much inspires what you know. And I think a lot of taste comes from what you know. Right. So when I say taste, I think it can be often, it can be like this elitist pejorative. That's not how I mean it.
Sorry, what?
It can be this slightly elitist pejorative. It can be like one hyphanda.
It's not a snobbish lens.
It's not a snobbish lens. I think the people who create, like, let's say, dude, I think the crazy IPL edits that come out right after each game, like, it's just like, it's just two shots of Kohli hitting it, and then it just gets into this crazy music. I think that's taste. I think if you like it, that is full. So I don't think it's not an anti-cringe thing at all. I think I don't think there is anything which cringe is just a bad word we give to content we don't like.
Doesn't match your taste.
Doesn't match your taste. That's all it's about, right? So, but it's not that you can, any kind of aesthetic can kind of work for it. But in a lot of senses, I think taste is being able to talk about what you like. And I think and maybe definition is the wrong word. Proof of taste is in someone being able to talk about it and being able to explain it to somebody else on why something works and why they, or not even why something works, why they like something. And being able to talk about it for a long time or present your argument in some different way. Ultimately, it's just about having a vocabulary around creativity, which is not something that you're doing because it makes business sense. Right? There has to be a part of it which is just like, instinctively this is what kind of comes to me. I learn a bunch of other things, etc. But I don't think people should get into advertising unless they like ads, not unless they like advertising. That's the trouble. I think a lot of the entrepreneurs and the 90% that you're talking about, I think they like advertising, but they don't like ads.
Advertising in the business of advertising?
They like the industry. They like the fact that I know how it can happen. I know. But what do they individually like commercials? Okay. And do they individually like advertising is a question that they should ask themselves. They should have answers on, okay, what are the ads that I love? What are the ads that I hate? What are the ads which I think should have been done in a different way? It doesn't matter if you're the creative person or the business person running it.
Right.
I think those basic frameworks to be able to talk about advertising in specific is as important as being able to talk about advertising in general. Right. And not in a way where, and to be able to have debates on it, to be proven right and proven wrong, and to change, and so, which is what it's an interest in the art form of
creating ads,
good
ads.
Right? Yeah. So if you have that, and if you generally feel like, hey, I've always been someone who's kind of liked ads, right? Then it's good. Right. Then that base thing itself is,
you're in the right place.
You're in the right place. But if you started out by saying, no, I actually found that this is a crazy gold rush, which is why I'm here, then it's hard for you to, it will be a good stepping stone. It will definitely be a good stepping stone to something else which probably you're meant to do in life, but it's not your calling.
Right.
And it shouldn't be either, because these are not professions which your parents force you to get into.
Right.
Right. Ours is a profession where we have to probably argue back against our parents and be like, no, this is what I want to do. No, I will not do engineering. No, I will not. So you have if you go through enough adversity to convince people in your lives that this is what you want to do, you're more likely to do it better.
Correct.
If you've not faced that initial level of adversity, and if you're just here because it feels like a logical option,
it can't be a good career. It can't just be a good career.
Correct. Do you really want your doctor to be someone who would have rather been an actor?
Right.
Like, do you really want that person to be like getting into your eyelids and been like, you know what, I actually wanted to do short films in college. No.
Right. No, fantastic. Okay, so when you say taste, and for the benefit of this conversation, I'm going to say taste is a personal choice. Now, my personal choice and my client's personal choice may not match.
Correct.
Now, do I only work with clients where I find alignment on taste, or what is the way out? Because
you're going to naturally.
You're in a business. You need to provide for the client.
Yeah,
you can't impose stuff on them.
But it's not. That's the thing. Like my personal taste is my personal taste. It's not. Essentially, it'll have things in common and slightly different from every other creative person in my company, for instance, right? But
I'll tell you why I asked you this question. I'm trying to understand, if the tastes don't have to match and you can still be in business, then why is taste important at all? Then I need to be a chameleon.
Because it's not about being in business, it's about growing the business.
Okay, but if my or client's tastes don't match,
I don't think growth, sustainable growth, growth that you're excited about can happen unless you are, you can expand your taste, right? But unless you keep enjoying this job, you can only run the business, you can't grow it. Right. So all of these are ways that we have to figure out what are the ways to enjoy our jobs more.
Right.
And we have to be in constant pursuit of that, because we are the raw material. We are the cool German technology in machines. We are the product, essentially, right? So you have to keep doing that. So you can 100% expand your taste, and you should. Every 2 years you should keep expanding your taste. That's how you stay in a job for 10.
What, and how do you expand your taste? Does it work like alcohol, like acquired taste?
A bunch of lived experiences, meet people who you have not. I don't know, man, take a walk, whatever. Like it's
expose yourself.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm not going to linger around taste any longer. So so the conversation actually progresses. But let's end with terming taste as something deeply intrinsic, deeply felt, personal choice. Okay, now tell me, the reason that the word taste has shot up in search trends is because of AI. Is because of AI of late. Because people are sort of figuring out, okay, this is what we can still be very human about. What happens to creative work with AI? I've seen game developers who've taken years to ship out something. I've seen people, doing VFX for years to ship out something. Now that all of that is becoming way easier. Like, a prompt can literally generate an image for me today. It wasn't possible a month ago, but today it's happening. So the creative work is actually media.
That's right.
Creative work is media.
Is media means?
Is media in the sense it's content. Content is media. It's some sort of
Sure.
It's a very, I would say, yes, it's tangible, but it's not a physical product, right? It's an idea. And now ideas are dime a dozen. I can get 500 ideas around a campaign today in the next less than a minute. I can generate as many images as I want. The cost of production has really gone down.
Correct.
So it's not the production hours that you're billing anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the cost of human labor that you can really stand out on anymore. What really happens to the agency business here? Are you going to price yourself on the outcome that, hey, we did a kick-ass campaign and we, made it perform. It performed for you. Give us money for that.
Yeah. So, I'll answer the question on the pricing part of it.
Sure. Where is the value?
Yeah. So
what are people going to get paid for now?
Yeah. So this is typically, I think, in the trouble is there has been not enough. In the last 20, 30 years, can I dive into a small history lesson on pricing and advertising? Right. So, dude, we've mostly been so far this, and Gautam and I spoke about this at Cannes last year on a session on pricing and advertising. We've broadly seen 3 eras of pricing. Okay, so in this so-called like the golden era, when the Volkswagen ads and all of that used to come out in Mad Men type era, little Eurocentric, but in the 60s, right? The creative work was essentially free because the agency would make money on media commission. So some 15% of whatever your media expenditure is what the agency would get paid. So
Media expenditure is the cost of putting up a
running it.
billboard
Yeah,
or running a TV ad or a radio ad.
like whatever. I'm going to spend this much. This ad is going to run for this long, whatever it is.
And take 50% to the creatives.
1/5.
15%.
It depends, 10 to 15%, whatever it
Okay.
is. But the essential financial model is the creativity was not the one that you have to pay for. You pay to run the
Reach.
ad. Yeah, you overall pay for media, and you make a decision as someone who's heading a business on how much do I want to spend on the actual media, which is the right thing to think about.
As a business.
Right, as a business owner.
As the advertiser.
As the advertiser, how much money am I paying? So that's what you were expected to think about. It never mattered to you whether how much creativity should cost or not, etc. You never paid for it separately. That you'd get for free. And because you'd get that, you weren't paying for that, you could have a way more objective mind about what it can be. Right? The creativity as such did not have any
value.
No, not value. Any pressure to be a particular thing or not a particular thing, because as a brand, you're willing to trust a bunch of people who were like, okay, guys, this is what I paid for. Okay, here, come, see 10 ideas I've got for you. Which one do you want out of it? And the people who are making those the creative teams essentially, they are not working under. There's no timesheets at that point in time, because you're not really paying for your time. You're paying for output, so to speak, right? Or you're paying for media, first of all. This all changed when, the story goes in sometime in the 70s, the Shell business in America was...
Shell, the oil company?
Yeah, going through a tough time, and therefore they had to pull down a lot of the media spending. Right?
Okay.
So, David Ogilvy, I think it was the Austin, Texas branch of when at Ogilvy at that point, was like, okay, cool, Shell, you know what? This is a relationship. Just because you can't spend this year or the next year, it's not like we're going to let you go. Tell you what, we'll figure a new arrangement for you. We won't bill you on your media, this thing, etc. You just pay. I'll tell you how much time is being spent working on your business, okay, from people at my agency.
Right.
I'll tell you how much time they're spending. We'll have one price for their time, like lawyers. Okay.
Media is free.
No, media will, whatever you spend, you spend. Okay. But it's not a cut of that that I'm taking.
Got it.
I will bill you on creative separately, just basis how much time is being taken. And time was such a, I don't know, man, it's probably a very reductive way to overall price something. But at that point in time, under those circumstances, it felt like an easy thing to do. Right? Now you've seen Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
The last scene of Oppenheimer where he's like, oh wow, you remember we thought one thing will spark and it'll blow up the whole world type thing. That's what happened with this. This was one account, one agency that did this time-based pricing.
Which became the norm.
Which overall, over decades just kind of became the norm. And so this concept of timesheets, so to speak, right? And saying we have to show that we at least worked on this for 7 days. So I'm putting the meeting next Friday. All of these practices come from the fact that most large agencies still work on man hours. And that in recent times has been a huge deterrent to automation within the creative agency space at all. Because if you're being paid for your time, why would you want to take less time? Why would you want to do a job in 3 hours?
Your incentive is to clock hours.
Your incentive is to clock hours. It's the same problem where freelance writers keep complaining about brevity, but still charge per word.
Right.
So if you want brevity to happen, don't charge per word anymore. Right? So it's kind of, so it was counterintuitive in a way. So, but ever since Talented started, we never do employ hour-based pricing. We don't have timesheets for the same reason. Our pricing is pretty much dependent about
per project.
Value created, outcome-based pricing, so to speak.
Do you take a share of? Do you have incentives as well? Like if you guys do, if the campaign performs really well, are there kickers?
No,
so there's a fixed fee.
No, because then those are conditional in this thing, right?
How is a typical contract? Is it a fixed fee?
Dude, so for a project, it's more or less a fixed fee. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, and that fee generally comes from us knowing how we want to run our shop. Okay. And depending on which client and which requirement and all of that. And it's customized in that way. Right. So, but the point is, because we price very, very differently, we are very much incentivized to use AI. We are very much incentivized to figure innovation. Time has nothing to do with how we generally price. So there has been no denial about or antagonization of automation as a process since day one. We're remote first as a company. We've been relying on technology ever since we started this, right? So I think that ecosystem to succeed with AI is it's the most fertile soil that could exist for this to work, which is kind of where and we're beginning to see the compounding effects of that.
Tell me, is AI possibly increasing margins?
If done right, yeah, sure.
For you guys?
I mean, too early to measure those things.
Okay, what do you foresee?
About increasing margins?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a rabbit hole, and increasing margins might be one of the things that it does. But that's not the reason. That's not the only reason to like. For instance, let me this thing it to you this way, right? Remember, we started by talking about how the growth is usually measured by people, right? So, so the fact that you can now look at growth independent of staff increase or number of staff increase, right? Is something that we will feel on the floor every day. And I think the way we go about this is just do a bunch of things that are excellent internal policies, which create an environment for excellent work. We have never seen the margins not increase. The problem is if you were to look at it as the optimizing for that measurement too fast, and looking at that as the only short-term benefit. Of course, it will be a long-term benefit, but the more immediate effects are how we will envision our own future, of course.
So you told me about pricing of advertising and how it was percentage based, then it became hour based, and you guys don't price by the hour anymore. You guys are not able to price by the hour anymore, which is a privilege because you guys have done great work in the past. Now, my question to you is for somebody sitting in a Vizag or an Indore or a Surat or a Ghaziabad or an Nainital. This dude isn't very exposed to big brands and wants to start an agency. Do you think he can avoid pricing by the hour? I don't think.
Why does he want to start an agency?
Employment.
Wrong motivation.
No, but for the mass.
No, but I'm serious.
For the mass country, if you have a skill set.
This is not. We shouldn't look at this as some job creator industry. It's not.
Okay.
The problem in our market is there are too many options. Right? Like we spoke about the restaurant business a little earlier. No. Imagine a situation.
You're saying don't start a restaurant just because you want to make money.
There are lots of options. So therefore, if you are and quite honestly, the wrong motivation. I mean, you should absolutely start an agency to make to have yourself a wonderful financial life. Okay, 100%. My only point is you have to be a generally very, very ambitious person who really likes advertising. If you are one of those two things, you'll do well. If you're both of those things, you'll do very, very well.
Don't get into this field just to make money.
Don't be a passenger here. It's
okay,
not.
Let's say somebody's coming here for the right reasons. Somebody's graduated out of journalism college, fought with his parents, didn't do engineering for a reason. Finally gets out of a journalism college with his mass comm degree. This guy wants to set up a creative agency because that's what he studied, that's what he's excited about, he or she. Now tell me, do you think not pricing by the hour is a privilege only available to people who are slightly reputed today, who have a name for themselves, who have a brand for themselves? I don't think somebody who's stepping in can afford to not price them by the hour.
I don't think there should be the stance ever, because the thing is, in our service industry, the biggest, if you end up having a subservient stance in your own head, if you are not generally
Confident about delivering outcomes.
and not and sure, it's perfectly possible for any entrepreneur to take that decision that, okay, cool, at this point in time for this brand, this is how I think I want to make money. You don't need to listen to any larger discourse to make that individual decision, right? But if you think this is how advertising is, then you're doing it wrong.
Got it.
There is no, I don't think one of the conversations which I was speaking to a founder generally about pricing only in this, and in their mind they were like, yeah, but you know what, like I have so many fixed costs, right? Like I have things to do with my manufacturing, and I have all of the import stuff, and like the making of the product. I mean, all of that, so there's so many fixed expenditures, so how can I spend so much on advertising as well? And I think the part that we're missing in that argument is, what we consider fixed expenditure and variable expenditure is just psychology. Like, why is this always the variable expenditure, where you can like spend less and less, and a bunch of...
No, wait. I would disagree there.
Tell?
You cannot cut costs on manufacturing. You cannot cut costs on logistics. And if you're selling to tier 2 India, where margins are only
correct
as thin as they are, and if you're not able to do volume, if you're not an ITC or a Hindustan Unilever, so many homegrown brands are done without advertising.
Dude, I'm 100% not saying that there should be.
I won't supply substandard product.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not saying that it is that we should take money off the product and give it to marketing. That's not, that'll be suicide, right? If anything, good advertising makes bad products fail faster, right? Okay. So it is in our incentive as an industry to have good products that exist. It only makes our industry grow more. No, right. That was not the point. I'm simply saying that there is because what we produce is not a physical thing, okay, because we work with human capital alone, it is easier to look at our business as something that
can go down and up, flexible.
Right? It's a pure mindset thing, which is why which has kind of been it's an unfortunate history of how generally human services have kind of been interpreted, right? So it's more or less coming from that point. So to your earlier question on the on can I afford to not price in this way, except whatever, right? I think yes, okay, if you need to do that, if the situation in front of you needs that to happen, sure, it's your company, do whatever you feel is right. I don't think repeating that stance to your employees or looking at it as status quo or kind of, making that your learned thing, like this is what I've learned from advertising type thing. That's I don't think that's smart at all, because you are not being a representative for a financially more optimistic future for the industry if you hang on to a bunch of those notions. Growth is not going to come from there. Growth is going to come from here.
Okay, now tell me a response that somebody, from the example that we used, faces a response to, if somebody like that has a client who's like, okay, copywriting has come down by magnitude, exponentially the price of copywriting's come down. Why are you still charging me so much?
Why do you pay 5,000 rupees for a dosa in one, or let me not even say 5,000. You have a wonderful, lovely dosa.
I think if I'm having a 5,000 rupees dosa, it's very likely in a 5-star, wherein I'm paying more for the experience and the
absolutely
people I am with or people I'm exposed to.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Give me the exact response.
If you're working with...
give me a convincing response.
Dude, if you actually believe that you should 100% have a part of like your marketing done more efficiently through AI and with the help of all of that and all of that. Okay. I do think the kind of services within advertising itself and the way that we price the services, the vocabulary around that, the nuancing around that, all of that will slightly evolve and change. What I don't think is a reasonable argument is to look at it as a binary, because it's not a binary. To kind of say that, okay, cool, I can get the very same thing done here in whatever else. Why should I pay? Is not a question to ask to me, as much as if a brand wants to execute something fully through AI, let them do it, see the results that happen, they'll get their learnings, and through that learnings, they'll probably see, okay, cool, this is where we need human intervention to come in, and then they'll come back. It's not my question to answer on why you should pay me more. Right? I will do the things which I am doing, and it will have an effect on the people it is supposed to have. And I think brand marketers are smart enough to see the difference that a wonderful dance between AI natives who also are supremely competent people in their own minds, working with a fantastic vocabulary of a particular technology and what that can provide. In some sense, what I'm saying is we are about to see the work that will speak for itself. Over the next few years, we will see work from hopefully agencies like ours and many others around the world, which will answer these questions, and it will be answered through the work more than answered through discourse, as it should be. And therefore, if once enough, I expect brand managers to mostly sort this out in their own minds. Will these conversations not happen? Absolutely, they will happen. It's a nice way to negotiate, and therefore those will happen, and they should. But I don't think the burden of proof is in a verbal answer as much as a body of work that will answer it.
So when you through this example of there will be work that you do and there'll be the work that a gazillion agencies that do, what differentiates the top ones versus the rest is technically tasteful prompts. This one slightly has better
prompts
inputs.
Is one part of it, of course.
Better inputs, not so great inputs, but both of them have equivalent
better
leverage.
I mean, you'd say better inputs and better inferences.
Okay.
Right. It's not like, sure, you'll write a good listing and all that. What are you inferring from everything that is coming to you? And what decisions are you making to do that? Right. So, for instance, I think there's I'll tell you how some of our planners use it. Okay, it's fascinating. So, primary research is
you talking to the audience.
Yeah, you're talking to the audience. So some part of the way that primary research happens can be replicated through by actually getting GPT to play your TG.
Simulate.
Right, like fully simulate your TG, to actually have a conversation with someone who you know is exactly your audience with all of the inputs. That it's brilliant. It fully puts away a bunch of how, which kind of means that when you now do primary research, you're going to step into that room and not just start from scratch. You're going to be able to have way more deeper human conversations, maybe because you've done one part of the research already on AI, simulating a human experience. This is the beautiful part where we actually see people's JDs changing. Where they're actually adapting to saying, okay, you know what, I used to spend my day like this, now I'm spending like this. This is what I've learned out of it. Maybe next week I'll do this a little. It's a beautiful process to watch.
That process is happening. It's not like one fine day it's going to happen.
No, it's
not happening on 31st December.
We are in the middle of it. We are 100% in the middle of it, which is why I think we should enjoy this park without being obsessed about how it's all going to, because it's clear that, if it looks like a goose and sounds like a goose and swims like a goose, it's probably a goose. Right? So we're getting all of those signals. and it's important for entrepreneurs to be obsessed about this part as much as they're obsessed about their usual FAQs. That's what is going to that 10 to 90% separation. No, enjoy this part.
Right.
You're in the middle of a nice technological revolution. Get into it and enjoy it. I think that you will hopefully be very this thing in hindsight.
Okay, lovely. I think that's a good wrap. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Lovely.
I'll do this.